Do you think that councils, and I'm going to ask this question, do you think that councils should go and inspect separately to housing associations, especially if they're going to be putting homeless people in these buildings? And they should go around and inspect a building before the housing association is allowed to let it.
Yeah.
And if they find that the same rules that the council are going to go and have a look around will be the same rules that's written in the government's, can't remember what it's called now, the Housing Act. There you are. That if these are not met, then that housing association then has to pay the tax for the empty property. They then have to pay it. And what's more, if they don't pay the tax, you repossess the house with your bailiff team.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can do up the house and then sell it on. Wonderful. And you can get your money back this way and a little bit more, because this would support councils, to be honest. A little bit more so than it is. This would also teach other housing associations that you will do what you are asked of by the Housing Act.
Yeah, what you are supposed to do.
What you are supposed to do.
Yeah.
That rent is not profit for you to sit at the top and go, ooh, money, 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 like Cyril Sneer from the Raccoons, right? You should never be allowed to do that. What's more, I think that this protects the health and safety of all people. And I think that private landlords should have to do this too. If not, you pay the tax. For ever how long the property is empty for, you will pay the tax. Because I think that you being penalised in this way is very healthy. One, it's healthy for the tax pot. Absolutely brilliant for the councils.
Okay.
I think it then shows that central government have the power, and when they write legislation, you will follow it. Like everybody else has to follow it. You will follow it. And then it doesn't make that a waste of legislation over there.
Mm-hmm.
And thirdly on that, I think that then it makes it so that you will do the repairs without bodging and cutting corners and doing this, that and the other. It protects our NHS for having... Why would we want to fill our NHS up and overdrive our ambulance crew with people who are sick for reasons that they don't know, but it's because it's related on a poor house, poor housing conditions, mould that has been hidden away behind certain things. And I feel that why should we overrun doctors with appointments where they're like, scratch their heads like, I don't know, your symptoms are quite a lot. But you've got this strange skin rash, you've got constant migraine, this, that. I don't think that that is the answer to it. I think that that puts a burden on our hard-working doctors. It puts a burden on our NHS. It overruns it a lot. And yeah, you should be responsible for that, housing associations and private landlords to boot.
Yeah.
And if you don't do the work, you don't get the let license, and then you are responsible in back payment if the building's been empty for more than 6 months and you've got away with not paying the tax because you're trying to rent it, then you pay that back tax. And when you do pay that back tax, you will remember next time before you go to let that you can't cut corners. So, and another thing that I find very bizarre, when you go to move into a property, it's all about time limit. You've got a time limit to go around like you're Dale Winton and you're doing the shopping game to go and find all of these errors that they've hidden. If not, it becomes a you problem. I mean, that is the most part I don't agree with that. That I would overturn in a heartbeat.
That's like a game, isn't it?
I would overturn that. You are responsible for major repairs, and if we need to, as a government, I would ensure that very educated individuals would work in the council that would know how long these problems have been left for. And how far back it goes. Is this before the tenant moved in, or is this just turned up whilst the tenant is in? Because you seem to forget that there is evidence And this evidence and damage, much like we have forensic teams that study crime and different things like that, they can pinpoint certain things back, give or take. It's a working science. But this one would be so that they could pinpoint it on buildings. And if you are found responsible for that, then you should be subject to a fine, especially a big corporation. And the director should be held accountable for that. And it's a case of go to court or pay the fine. If you go to court, there's going to be big troubles on you, and you can't push this on to the people that are below you. No, you have to go and dig into that profit pot somewhere, in your profit pocket, and then you have to pay this. Because it's not about a time limit, and let's stop playing around with time limit this, time limit that. Quick, get the workers in, hide the evidence. Might have already got it. And there is types of forensics that can be done on every single situation. So I'd be careful about playing this whole time limit. It's a time limit. It's a time limit. Because when you hold people, where especially homeless people, and anyone that is going to get a house, whether private rented or, I don't know, social housing, these individuals that are going into this are subject to homelessness. And using these people in this light is absolutely sickening, to be honest. I find this absolutely sickening, and whoa, you don't want me getting in power, that's for sure, because I don't even think that you need to get me in power to do this. Any good leader with half a common sense in their minds would put this in because it makes the most sense. It works for all people in all places. This keeps happy government, happy council, and happy tenant. And also a happy housing association as well, because then their poor staff don't have to deal with difficult customers that call in, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, another way to deal with that is just replace them with AI. So that they are not subject to, you know, the cutbacks and the profit pot and stuff like this, you know, because again, that would be formulatingly going against a lot of people's human rights along the way. And if this stems from individuals at the top, then you are breaching a lot of human rights in this sort of stuff. So I do pose that as a question. And then where there are forensics in police, we would get special forensics within a council somewhere that could be trained by central government to go out to most of the councils, and they swap. They swap areas and swap at different times, some in, some out, and they go on training and different stuff like that, and the new ones go in, and the past ones then go off to get some more training and stuff so that we can't be bought out in any way. I'm not saying that anyone would, but it's possible. And yeah, there would be more incentive in them to stay the course and not to deviate off of it for a little bit of money as well along the line. Because working with tenant and empowering tenants to know what to look for and know how to record this and collect this evidence would be very important for individuals to have this knowledge, because it then helps them in a situation like this. And it gives them something to do when the situation gets a little bit dire. So yeah, I believe that there should be big changes come, and these big changes have an absolute beautiful benefit all the way across society, I believe. So yeah. Ooh, corporations, whew, hold on tight, because you better strap in. This full moon is seeming to be quite a... Oof.